On this episode of One After Five, we're talking burnout, career benchmark, and how to enhance your professional profile with an HR expert. With years of experience in the international market, she's helped businesses and professionals to navigate hiring, salary expectations, and career growth. If you're looking to stand out and avoid burnout while leveling up your career, this is one for you. Grab a glass and tune in while we welcome RaphielaFlores. Hi, Raphiela. How you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm very, very happy and excited to be here with you and to share this space with a glass of wine after five so we can talk about the amazing things that you bring to us and to your people.
Thank you very much, Raphiela, for accepting our invitation today. We will take advantage of your HR expertise, so we will help people to identify their skills, their strengths, their weakness, and how to benchmark themselves. The first question for you today is, how can someone assess when it's time to search for a new job versus continuing to grow in their current positions?
Well, actually, it's very simple to know. However, we are going to talk a little bit deeper about it. The first thing that you need to pretty much understand is that it's here. You feel it here. You don't feel it outside. You don't feel it at the office. You feel it here. How do you feel when you wake up in the morning on Mondays? Do you feel happy? Do you feel excited? Do you feel sad? Do you feel tired? Do you feel that you don't like that job, that you don't want to go to that work? So that's the first thing that you need to assess, that you need to take in consideration before having that conversation to yourself if you want to change roles or switch companies. It's a job satisfaction. Are you satisfied with the work that you're doing? Are you satisfied with the company that you're doing? It's either because of culture, either because of the growth opportunities that you might have in that company. Do you have those growth opportunities? Have you tried to get other positions, other routes? Do you have a clear career path? Don't you? Then it's time to move. Another thing that is a really good factor nowadays to have in consideration, it's pretty much the fact that after COVID, we didn't have this work-life balance, especially us millennials. We were built and raised to be productive, to be always on working mode. And then after COVID, when we were forced to stop for months, then we understand the importance of that work-life balance. Now we want to spend more time with our families. Now we want to spend more time with our spouse. We want to spend more time with our friends. And we want to enjoy a little bit better the effort that we put in our work. We want to enjoy and have that balance between what we do to get the results and actually the results that we're getting. And also pretty much those are the factors that you need to take in consideration. Of course, that the compensation and benefits is really, really important. Do you think that you reach the maximum compensation amount that you can get in that company? Is there anything else that you might be doing to get better results in your current company? If not, then it's time to go. It's time to search for new opportunities, and especially on New Year's. A new year, new us, we can search for plenty of opportunities that we have.
Taking advantage of what you said, it is true that we need to start thinking more about work and personal life balance. Because as you said, and as a millennials, we are so used to work, and overwork ourselves that we do not notice when we're reaching our limits. Also, the fact that we need to know how to benchmark ourselves in the market. Do we already reach the max salary that we can get on a role? Are we ready and prepared to that role? Sometimes we are willing to apply for a new position, maybe going from supervisor to manager. And we have these conversations in our minds, but we do not know how to move forward. So everything happens in our mind, and we think that the company is saying no, and we think that HR, it's a block in our way, but we never having those conversations. And that takes me to my second question today's interview. From your HR perspective, what tools or strategies do you recommend for tracking progress toward professional goals over the course of a year? Like, how can we get the conversation out of our mind and actually take it to HR, take it to our supervisor? I'm looking for those new job opportunities, whether it is in our companies or outside.
Well, the first thing, as you mentioned, is to take out the conversation out of our heads and just put it into action. And action is not thinking, it's more like acting. So the first thing that I think that it's important for us to do is to take in consideration, have that conversation with colleagues, with supervisors, with mentors, to ask for their help in that path that we are going to take. That's the first one. If we want to to grow within a certain position, we are going to need help because that knowledge, we don't have that knowledge. And we need a career path that can be created within that same company. Another thing that we can easily do at home is journaling. What am I doing today towards the goal that I want to do? I'm an operator and I want to be a supervisor. Then what is that I need to do to be a supervisor? What did I do today that gets me closer to that position? And I just put it on the notepad. I do journaling with that. And also the first thing, and actually the most important one, is to pretty much set up the goals in a smart way. We need to pretty much create a specific goals. I'm going to be a supervisor. I need to measure and be able to measure that goal. That goal needs to be achievable. It's not that I'm going to be a president of the company tomorrow. Is I'm going to create a path so I can achieve that goal. And that needs to be relevant. How am I going to feel? What that position is going to help me as a person, as a professional when I get that? And also I need to add a time for it. Is it going to be in 6 months? Is it going to be in 1 year? I need to add a time for that. So having that specific metrics, not only in our heads, but having someone helping me to get from point A to point B.
I love what you said about journaling. I'm currently reading The Compound Effect, which is a book, and it speaks about the result of little efforts that we put in every day. And it recommends journaling because you do not see the immense effect in your life of the little things that you're doing today or tomorrow. But given time, within 1 year, within 2 years, you will see that you start creating habits or you start receiving results based on those little decisions that you are making on a daily basis. You already shared with us something similar to the SMART goals strategies. I would like to know, because you have hired, trained, and prepared highly effective teams for a variety of companies. You have an expertise building cohesive teams. Based on that, can you share an example of any specific benchmark or goal-setting frameworks that has worked effectively for professionals based on your experience?
It's actually a smart one. There's no other one. It is pretty much establishing everything. So the best one, and actually the easiest one, is the SMART. To set up the goals, to formate them to be specific, to be measurable, to be achievable, and to be time bound. This is pretty much what I can suggest, and actually is the one that most results can give you as a professional from HR. And as a professional in any other kind of source.
You are a person that I consider to be extremely hardworking. You are that type of person that is not bound by an 8 to 5, and you are here to make things happen. So whomever hire you, whatever company seek for your services, know that they are going to get more than what they are paying for or that what they are bargaining for. I will call you a workaholic, but loosely using the word. And that takes me to the fourth question of today's interview. And it's in regards of a topic that we touched at the beginning of the interview, which is burnout and mental health. When you are a workaholic, especially for us as a millennial, it is hard to set the right limits or set the right boundaries to prevent things from work to affect us on a personal level, on a mental level, even on a physical level. You and I know how easy it is for us to go one whole day without eating because things need to happen. And then the next day, being binge eating in front of a computer or binge eating before a meeting, like grabbing a bar of chocolate or something that is not that healthy. And we do not notice the impact that has on our health, physical and mental health as well. We have the tendency to have problems with insomnia, especially when we are in a higher rank in the hierarchy levels, because we let those meetings go into our heads. Like we replay the meetings. What could have gone different on that meeting? Was there any other alternative? I did not like the feedback that I received. Being in HR, you need to be able to handle not only yours, but the rest of the employees' mental health and professional health as well. And by professional health, I mean making sure that every single person is behaving and is acting and is working at the max of their capacities and on the most effective way. How do you personally balance setting ambition goals, working and taking these humongous projects that you do, with maintaining your mental health and avoiding burnout?
Of course, that I can answer that from or after a lot of experiences and bad experiences that I had in my life in the past, and that probably leads me to answer this question from the bottom of my heart. The first thing that we need to do is to be realistic. Even though we want to attain a lot of things, or to create a lot of things, or to do several things, we only have 24 hours. And out of those 24 hours, we need to sleep at least 8. So we need to set realistic goals for us. Even though it's ambitious, doesn't mean that needs to be unattainable. That needs to be something that I will die for it. And also, this is something that it's funny to say, because we have been dealing with this culture of actually the opposite. Lower your self-esteem. In there, lower your self-esteem. Not because you cannot do the things, but actually because you can do the things. And the less things you take, the better all the things that you're doing are going to be. So if you are taking a huge project, divide that project into pieces and then start one by one, step by step, especially celebrating each one of those steps instead of having everything and trying to do everything at once. That's my first recommendation. The other recommendation will be the easiest one. It takes just 2 letters, but a lot of time to learn how to say that. And that's learning how to say no. Not only maintaining the boundaries, but creating them, respecting the boundaries that you created, which is respecting yourself. If you're already saying that you are going to be committed, especially at the beginning of the year, that we commit to be more present with our family, with our spouse, with our partners, with our friends, then let's respect what you said at the beginning of the year that you are going to do. If that means that you are only working 8 hours a day, then it's 8 hours a day. Let's make the 8 hours that we have at work in front of the computer, working with our people, the best out of the day, instead of burning ourselves out for 24 hours because we don't sleep well. Maintaining and creating boundaries, setting realistic expectations of ourselves, and also celebrating the small steps that we take to do the huge progress that we want to make. We cannot make everything in one day, and we know that. So accepting that and moving forward and celebrating the small steps that we take.
Say something that might come as controversial, but it also helps to maintain your mental health and to prevent burnout. And this is something that actually I learned from you. And it's the fact that it doesn't matter how good or how excellent is the company culture, employees or coworkers are not family. You can make friends out of them. You can have relationships outside of work, because it's expected. Like, you spend every day with these people. The fact that you're not relating with them emotionally, it's absurd. You will. However, a lot of companies sell us the lie that we are family and we should treat ourselves like family. And when you allow that mentality, and I've been guilty of that, when you allow that mentality to play with your subconscious, you always feel like, if I do not put that extra hour when I get home, if I dedicate time to play with my kids or to go out on dinner with my husband, you feel like you're failing to your family because you allow that mentality to play in your subconscious. So yeah, it might come out as controversial, but that's part of creating boundaries, as you said. The level of effect, the level of dedication, the level of responsibilities that you have towards your family are not equivalent to the ones that you have towards the company. And if something happens to you, because burnout is real, and people that have burnout, especially here in the States, when you are diagnosed with it, you need to be outside of the workforce for 2 years. You'll not see nobody from the company coming and saying, I will give you the bare minimum salary in order for you to be able to sustain your family for those 2 years. You will need to depend on the government, or you will need to depend on your husband or your spouse, if you have one, to sustain your family. So if something happens to you, to your mental health, to your physical health, that family that happens within work will not be there to support you. Maybe some friends, yes, but the family that you have outside of work are the ones that are going to pay the consequences.
Yes. And if you allow me to add there, it's something that I usually, not all the time, of course I did not say that all the time, but right now I usually say to my team, to the people that I work with, because everything is a cycle. Like, I can help you out with a task, I can help you out with whatever you need to stay late on. I can help you out tomorrow so you don't leave that late, but I won't be able to help you when you go to phase 1, which is I'm leaving, I'm burnout. I don't like this company because I don't have work-life balance. So it is a cycle. And so we can avoid that part of that cycle. Then we need to maintain the boundaries.
And you know something, now that you mentioned that, I've been caught and I've been guilty of care about other people and let them know, don't worry, this can wait till tomorrow. It's already 6 p.m. You need to leave. You need to be with your kids. You need to be with your family. But I'm still guilty of staying at work. And you know what I didn't notice before? I was setting the wrong example for the rest of the people. So the change needs to happen from you or within you so others can learn from you, especially if you are in a leadership role, because you can say with your mouth to other people, leave at 6, be with your family. It doesn't matter. But if you're the one answering emails at 10 p.m., asking questions at 11, like you can reply whenever you see these, your teammates will feel obligated to be on top of their game because they think that's what you're expecting from them. Or they think the reason why you're doing it is because the boss's boss are expecting that. That's the level, that's the rule which they are measuring everyone. So by doing it as a leaders, hear me out, everyone that is watching this episode, avoid or prevent yourself from making these mistakes because your words can be saying something, but your actions are the one that are teaching others how to guide and conduct themselves within work. Now, Raphiela, going back to you and taking the conversation a little bit more into the HR realm, because I know that, especially because it's January, there are a lot of the people watching this episode, a lot of our followers that have questions in regards of HR because they do not know what questions to ask, how to tackle, how to approach an interview when it is coming. So I want to ask you the 5th question of today's interview. And it is, what are some of the questions that employees should ask HR at the beginning of the year to align their goals with the company's priorities?
And hopefully they do. Hopefully they ask, because of course that there's a lot of expectations. And not only the company needs to know who to count with, but we need to know as employees how to help the company. But if we don't ask, then we will never know. So the first thing, of course, about the goals. How my position, how my role can help the company to attain the company goals, the annual goals. That's a really good question. So we are going to know the impact that our day-to-day operations will have on the goal that we have as a company for the end of the year. With that same question is, how can I, as a person, improve my personal performance so I can help the company better to attain the goal, not in December, not in November, but in October? How can I help the company with that? And also, probably one of the questions that we are not ready to ask, but is the company willing to help me, to help you to attain their goals? Am I going to get the tools to get the job done? Am I going to get the resources to perform at high level? Because I'm willing to. So am I going to receive that help? So I think those 3 questions not only help us to understand what the company wants from us and what is that they are expecting from us, but also having this last question about KPIs, how is that the company is going to measure pretty much the results, is going to help me as an employee to know what is exactly what I need to do, how am I going to do it, and knowing especially that I will have all the help and resources to perform and to help the company to get to the other level.
Great answers, really, because most of the times we are trying to perform and we are trying to attain our goals, but we do not even know what the goals are. Something that I recommend to any business owner watching this episode today is to make sure that at the beginning of the year and even quarterly to have meetings with your team, making sure that people are aligned with the company goals. Because sometimes your company goal is X and people are working towards something totally different. You want to sell 100 apples and people are buying potatoes and selling potatoes because they do not know what the actual goal is for the company. And then at the end of the year, as a business, you're asking yourself, why didn't we obtain the results? If we did the investment, we double the quantity of employees that we have. Yes, but your employees excel at selling potatoes, but you need them to sell apples.
Yes, and if you are an employee, also you can ask. Ask for feedbacks. Ask what is the company goals. It's not. Do not start working on whatever you understand is the company goal for this year, and have a surprise later on during the year that it was not what you were supposed to be doing. So if your supervisor didn't come to you and say or give you that insight, ask. Always ask.
This takes me to the 6th question of today's episode, Raphiela. Thank you for taking us there. And it is from the HR perspective. How can professionals use their performance review or annual goal setting meetings to advocate for career development opportunities or for improvements. Because usually I've noticed that we get these long pages reviews in regards of what we did good, where we excel, areas of opportunities, and we do not read them. We just get them and pretend that nothing happened. And we assume that because I did not have an increase in my salary, because I did not get a promotion, that means that nothing went great. We just ignore that paperwork. And I think that's a big mistake that any professional can make if they're willing to keep growing professionally. And that doesn't mean an increase in the salary or a change in their role title. It just means learning more and achieving more. So what's your take on that perspective?
Mine is a little bit controversial because, of course, we do receive and we have evaluations, performance evaluations every year. Hopefully, we're getting those performance evaluations every year. But if not, again, we can ask for them. But we are always under the expectations that we can receive more, that we can get more just for doing what we're supposed to be doing. And it's not like that. And definitely having and reading the reviews, reading the feedback, receiving the feedback, journaling, as we were mentioning before, everything that we are doing on our task will help us to determine if it's a really good idea for me to ask even for a raise, to get another position, or if I need to learn a little bit more. Because attaining my goals is not reason enough for the company to give me a raise. And why not, Raphiela? Because you were hired for that. You receive a salary for that. So for doing whatever you are supposed to be doing, you don't deserve a star on your head. You are going to be deserving better things when you put a little bit more effort. So reading those reports, having that feedback, receiving that feedback, implementing that feedback, and asking questions, how can I get better? I know that I did great this year. How can I transform this performance that I have this year into a better performance for the next year so I can help the company better? Once the company attains better goals and better results, then I am part of it, and then I'm entitled to get something else out of it. But of course, we need to listen to them, we need to read them, and we need to be open to the perspective of our superiors, our mentors, our colleagues on what we need to do better, or even if we have the opportunity to already be ready to the position to take it and move forward. But yeah, definitely it's controversial because every time that we receive that notification on the email, you have your performance review, we understand that we can ask for a raise. We did the bare minimum. So what are we asking the company for? Let's prepare so we can ask. And that takes a lot of reading, a lot of knowledge, a lot of learning. It's a little bit controversial, but it is how it works.
I'll share a story with you. And it's in regards seeing beyond the salary, seeing beyond that increase on our hourly wages or on our commissions even. I used to work for a company, and every year I get in my report that I was exceeding expectations, but I show a little bit of lack of knowledge in finances. So I work directly with the directors of that company, and it was a little bit obvious that when the CFO of the company comes to the table, I struggle a little to understand the terminology and to follow up with the numbers. So I start asking for the reports in advance so I can study before the meetings and be better prepared. However, a lot of information was not always available on time for me to review it prior to meetings. So what I did was that instead of asking for a raise, I asked for a scholarship and a certification that was specifically tailored for my role and to learn more about finances. So it was a certification in finance. And the company agreed with it. They went with it. They make sure that I got the certification. Because in the end, yes, it's an investment that the company needs to do. Yes, it's going to end up being on my CV for the rest of my life. But the company also benefit from making that investment because I was able to come better prepared, to become a better asset for the company, and to be ready when the conversations will come to the table. And to being able to understand what he was saying, my perspective being also able to translate into his language what we needed to happen or where we needed help from the finance department. And the reason why I'm sharing this is because, as you said, usually it's too easy to get caught in the I did great and I deserve an increase. I've been in the same position for 2 years and I haven't had a salary increase. I'm ready for a promotion. Or why do they promote X, Y, and Z instead of myself? Why do they hire someone from the outside instead of promoting? It's because we are not taking advantage of these little opportunities Do not necessarily think about salary. Think about other areas in which you and the company can meet in the middle, and you can become a better employee, but you can also become a better professional. Because at the end of the day, yes, you're a better employee for the company, but you're a better professional for the rest of your life, for the rest of your career. Whether you grow vertically in that company or you go horizontally because there's something else that you want to do, or you leave the company entirely and you want to go for a different one.
And actually, adding to that, the amazing, because it's beautiful power of waiting the right time. That comes with that. Not only I'm not here only for the salary. I always say that you need to wait the right moment to ask for a raise, to ask for a different position. And when is that right moment? When you are prepared. When that you already show the company that you actually need that the company needs to give you that because you already exceeded expectations, that you already prepare for that they can say no. Of course, that takes a lot of knowledge, as I mentioned before, but let's take out the common practice that we have right now to let the boss know, well, I had a different offer. This is an offer from a different company. It's paying me more. The boss know already your benchmark. How is that we're paying, or how is that the market is paying the work that you can do because you work with them. You already perform to that company. So we're not fooling anyone. When we come to that, and actually I've seen a lot of failed cases on that, because of course we accept the fact that, okay, that company is actually willing to pay you more. Go ahead. And then you see the person go forward. I mean, good. And then you see the person go, no, I am willing to say no. Now you're leaving. Because this is not
that happens. That happens to me in my first job. And on my first role, I came like entry level and I was ready to jump into the manager role because I saw what the manager was doing. And I'm like, I can do that. Of course. Mind you, I was still in college. So I wasn't even graduated yet. I was fresh out of high school. But I thought I had all of the capabilities. Why not? And I came and I said to the HR department, and I say, I want this role because if not, I will be leaving. And they told me, it's amazing that with no other experience, that without a title or any certifications, you are getting that role. And I was like, yeah, but I know how to speak English and Spanish. So I'm bilingual. They were like, go for it. We will not interfere with your professional growth. We do think you need a little bit more experience and that you need X, Y, and Z certification, but go for it. When are you presenting your resignation? And my jaw drops. Like I just said this in the video about 10 questions about me. You can, by the way, go ahead and watch it in the channel. I was so naive. And when I say naive, I thought I can eat the world just because I believe I was capable of it, and I knocked myself in the wall a couple of times. That's because of that I've learned my lessons, and I'm guessing just like you, we're able to share our experiences, and that's why we raised to the level that we have done so far.
But that's a common practice. Don't feel bad about it.
No, I'm impressed that I can see through the bluff now. Like every single time an employee come and tell me that story or bring a letter, I'm like, as you said, as your supervisor, as your manager, as your direct supervisor, I know your worth within this particular market. I know how many certifications you have done. I know how good your English or your Spanish or any other language is. I know. So if any other company is willing to go ahead and take the risk on you and pay that amount, go for it. I'll celebrate any single person that is willing to leave any company that I work for because they want to grow professionally. I'll not be in their way. So Raphiela, based on all your expertise from the HR perspective, and as you have shared with us from your personal perspective as well, things that have helped you grow and becoming the excellent human being and professional that you are today, I want to close with the 7th question for today, and it is, what is the biggest lesson that you want to share with our audience today?
It's not even a lesson. It's going to be something that, of course, as an HR recruitment side of the world, we see a lot. And I want to encourage everybody to think about and to start the year by helping themselves. It's not lower your self-esteem again. It's lower the self-esteem to the point that you are. Do not understand, or do you not think, don't you think that you are going to fool anyone by creating a resume, by creating an experience that you don't have. Because it's to actually act on something that you don't know how to do. So let's work ourselves in every single position that we want to look for. It's either in our company, in the company that we're with right now, or in another company that we saw a posting, a job posting. If you want to go for that position, let's learn. There's technology right now. It's amazing. We can take courses, we can learn, we have mentors, we have plenty of help right now for us to grow. And that also helped me in the past. If you want to become a president, that's amazing. Do not apply to be a president today if you are not ready, but learn, study, grow, learn again, read again, get the certification again. And then once you can apply to that position, you can make sure that the job is going to be for you, to avoid frustration on 2025. To avoid the fact that I'm applying to every kind of job and I'm not getting accepted. You're not getting accepted because you don't have the qualifications. And whenever you talk to an HR person, we know. So from my experience, that's something that I would love to have a difference in this year, for us to get the mentality to sell ourselves as we are, because we are valuable. And of course, as HR, we are going to value more what you bring to the table than what you actually understand that you can bring. But 3 days after you get the position, you can't because you don't know. So it's not a lesson. It's more like a recommendation to start the 2025 with the right expectations and creating something good for us for this year.
Thank you so much, Raphiela, for that lesson, that recommendation, and taking that as a friendly ending, right? I want to end up this episode today by cheering to be more authentic, cheering to accept our journey, accept where we are, and commit ourselves to become better tomorrow. So cheers for you, for me, yes, and for every single one of you that are watching this video today. Thank you for your time, Raphiela, and I see you in another video. Bye-bye.